Well, everybody, it pains me to say this, but I've said it before, so it bears repeating. Temper your expectations. And when I say that, I don't just mean when it comes to watching films. That's just good life advice, just all in all. That's just from a general standpoint. Because, well, quite frankly, that's really all I have to give you guys. Because my eyes feel like they are on fire right now. Just, Merry Christmas! Yay! Happy holidays and stuff. Cue the music. Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? How y'all doing today? Welcome back. And the latest movie we're talking about is called Christmas Crossfire. And for a little while, I couldn't really put my finger on it. I was trying to figure out why I was so excited for this movie, even though I knew nothing about it. And then after I thought about it for a minute, I'm like, oh, it's clearly the title. Because if you think about it, in an alternate universe, Christmas Crossfire is a good alternate title for Die Hard. Like, come on, it sounds kind of cool. Come on. But also, on top of that, if any of you have seen the movie Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and you know how awesome it is, I equated this movie to that just because of the title. Because for some reason, my brain put together like, oh, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, oh, something cute and then something kind of lethal. And then there's Christmas Crossfire. Christmas, something kind of cute, Crossfire. Something very lethal. So for some reason, I commingled those two together and I expected a much better movie. But in the end, it was just kind of okay. It's like I said, people, temper your expectations. But anyway, the basic plot of the movie is it revolves kind of around this girl named Ida, or Edda, I may be pronouncing that incorrectly, but she is on the way back to her hometown, which is kind of a small, more rural kind of town. And on the way back to her hometown, she seems a little depressed, a little down on her luck, so she meets this dude. They hang out, they start hooking up a few times, and she decides to bring him back to her hometown. Because quite honestly, who doesn't do that once in a while? So on the way back to her hometown, they start to make with the sexy time once again, and this time they're in the woods, and when they're about to get down to business, the guy hears a bunch of cries for help outside of the van that they're in. So then he gets out of the van and goes to investigate and finds out there's a dude that's about to be executed. So he screams and tries to break it up. Everybody gets separated, everybody goes off into little groups, and then a bunch of crazy, wacky, Christmas-infused hijinks ensue. And to the movie's credit, it started off very strong. If you listen to any of the introduction to the plot that I just gave you, that sounds like a very Kiss Kiss Bang Bang-esque kind of opening. It's kind of wacky, kind of crazy, and you don't know where it's gonna go. And right from the beginning, the chemistry between Ida and the dude is actually it's really noticeable, it's really impactful, but then as soon as the guy gets out to go investigate, then they get separated for a while, and that's how most of the movie is. And I was like, dude, We were doing so good though. But that was the choice the movie made, so I was like, okay, I'm on board, let's get it go. Started off strong, let's do this. And then throughout the movie, it felt just kind of slow. And some of the scenes were a little bit predictable. And I don't know, it kind of lost its flavor after a little while. There is an entire cadre of wacky, interesting characters, but they just didn't do... Everybody just felt underutilized, like they could have done a whole lot more with everybody. But then some of the characters also ended up being redundant, and it's like, dude, why did you give us a taste of something that could have been really, really funny and then just kind of piss it away? It was like, oh. And I would be very curious to read the script for this movie, actually, because it is intricate in its design, because there's so many different characters that are all intermingled somehow. It feels very, very Guy Ritchie, kind of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. So I guess what I'm saying is that the crux of the case is that this movie had all the tools necessary to just go full board ridiculous, but it just kind of I don't know, just squandered it a bit. Like, for example, there's a police officer that also gets involved somehow, and you can kind of tell exactly what this dude's personality is going to end up doing to a certain character, and I was just kind of like, okay, I could have done without that. And there was also a love triangle involving a gangster's wife that I felt from one character's perspective, it did feel genuine, but from the other two, I just didn't feel it quite as much. And at one point in the movie, there's a character that completely loses all consistency for basically just for the sake of the plot moving forward, and it was just kind of silly. It was just like, okay, this person refuses to kill this person, but then a few seconds later kills a completely different person with complete ease. it just didn't make any sense. And I'm willing to forgive the fact that Ida didn't exactly have a character arc or really that much development, because her character was inherently interesting from the get-go. So I can kind of understand that. But the majority of the other characters just didn't progress, really. They just kind of, I don't know, you just see them do things that, like, I don't know, it just got tired for some reason. I can't explain it. This movie had so many good pieces, and there's, like, a lot of good things about it, but it just didn't, for some reason, it just didn't gel properly enough for me to enjoy it. Lo and behold, I thought the movie did round itself off at the end. There were a few cool strokes of genius as far as the plot goes towards the third act. And I did like how some characters that they introduced in the first or second act, the way that they rounded off and like became relevant by the time the third act rolled around, I thought that was kind of cool. That happened for like a couple people. And yet another thing that I actually quite enjoyed was the music in this movie, because it felt like the music was the only thing that felt like it knew what movie it was supposed to be in. Because the movie's a little like quirky, a little upbeat, a little bit peppy, but it's like weird and out of place because this is supposed to be a serious crime movie, but it kept the mood light. So it was like, it was the right amount of bombastic that I expected from the title, even though the rest of the movie didn't quite like measure up to it. And one other thing I didn't like was there's a scene at a dinner table where people are asking each other questions, and none of the questions really get fully answered for either you, the audience member, or for the people that are actually in the scene. So I thought that whole thing was just kind of weird. But anyhow, guys, after all that being said, the movie's not bad. It does have a lot of good qualities to it. It just didn't quite live up to the measurements that I was assuming that it was gonna get to. So I think if I were gonna go for a score overall out of 10, I think I might give it like a 6.1. It was serviceable. I did want to know what happened next, and the movie had me intrigued from the beginning. It just kind of meandered a little bit, and it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of lost its way in the woods, much like a lot of the characters. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts? Have you seen this movie? Were you excited for it like I was? Hop in the comments and let me know what's up. Other than that, if you like this video, give me a like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, do all those other YouTubey type of shenanigans, and I will catch you guys next time.